Got that out there again, another sign of the WNBA's activism. Activate the activism. Thanks. I mean, again, even the NBA decided to get out of the politics game and decided to quit their virtue signaling. But Kelsey Plum come out and said, hey, Caitlin Clark, Team Clark wasn't present for the meeting about the shirts. And she knew exactly.
The recent incident involving Kelsey Plum during a press conference has sparked significant debate across sports media platforms. Her comments regarding the pay us what we owe us, shirts, and the bait, deliberate mention that Caitlin Clark's team was absent from the planning meeting has been widely criticized as a poorly timed public relations move. The timing proved particularly unfortunate, occurring just before the All-Star game when the league was attempting to capitalize on increased fan interest. Social media reactions were overwhelmingly negative, with many viewing the move as counterproductive to the WNBA's growth objectives. The situation becomes more complex when considering the league's recent shift away from political messaging following the NBA's similar decision to reduce activism-focused initiatives. Plum's statement appeared deliberately crafted to distance Clark from the collective action, creating an unnecessary division within the league.
Look, she knew exactly what she was doing. I've seen people try to explain this away. She knew exactly what she was doing. She knew she was being shitty, and she was. That's what she was doing. She knows Caitlin Clark's got a ton of fans that support her, and she purposely gave her a double middle finger. I mean, that's what she did. And to the fan base. These players are so damn pissed off that there's.
Critics argue that Plum was fully aware of the implications of her words, effectively alienating Clark's substantial fan base through what many perceived as an intentional slight. This occurred despite Clark being the primary driver behind the league's recent surge in popularity, attendance figures, and television ratings. The financial impact became immediately apparent when All-Star game ticket prices dropped dramatically following news of Clark's injury. Average entry costs fell from $121 to just $64, representing a 50% decrease in market value. This price collapse highlighted Clark's singular influence on fan engagement and commercial interest. Major sports media personalities who previously showed little interest in women's basketball have begun covering these developments extensively.
That there's one player that has sparked all of this: attendance, ratings, viewership, gate revenue, all this. Not only that, but they set back. She makes a dig like this after literally just seeing All-Star game tickets dropped by 50% in value. They literally went from an average walk-in price of $121 to 64 bones.
Colin Cowherd, whose radio program reaches millions of listeners nationwide, offered pointed criticism of the WNBA players' approach to their rising star. Cowherd's commentary emphasized the dramatic transformation Clark has brought to the league, comparing the situation to a struggling band suddenly finding success after adding a new member. His analysis suggested that before Clark's arrival, the league operated with minimal resources and limited appeal, while her presence has elevated everything from travel accommodations to venue quality. The radio host acknowledged that WNBA players likely deserve increased compensation, potentially more than their current 9% revenue share. However, he criticized the tactical approach, arguing that attacking the person responsible for the league's newfound prosperity represents poor strategic thinking. Historical context reveals the stark difference in viewership patterns before and after Clark's emergence.
$64 to get in once Caitlin Clark's injury came out that she wasn't going to play. And I'm very interested to see what those ratings look like. What kind of a mess is the ratings going to be like? So anyway, we've all seen, I'm not going to play the clip yet again of Kelsey Plum. I just put out the video where Chicago Bulls, three-time NBA champ, he crushed Kelsey Plum. Like, what are you doing? Why are you being a little hater?
Previous WNBA superstars, including A'ja Wilson, generated minimal television audiences, often drawing fewer than 400,000 viewers per game. Competing programming like the Big Three Basketball League frequently outperformed WNBA broadcasts by substantial margins. The contrast becomes even more pronounced when examining
What are you doing? Why are you being a little hater? So this is being picked up everywhere now. And Colin Cowherd, he's got the biggest radio show in the country. A guy that wouldn't, he could lose all the bets 2 years ago. He could lose all the bets. Maybe this side of being at gunpoint 2 years ago, this man is not talking about the WNBA, period. I can tell you this.
He projects that Clark's influence will compound over time, similar to Michael Jordan's impact on basketball popularity during his career. The current season, affected by Clark's injuries and adjustment period, may represent the lowest point for her influence rather than its peak. The compensation debate reflects broader questions about revenue distribution in professional sports. While NBA stars collectively drive league popularity, the WNBA appears to depend disproportionately on a single player for its commercial appeal. This dynamic complicates traditional revenue-sharing models and creates unique negotiation challenges. Fan reactions to the All-Star game itself reinforced concerns about product quality and entertainment value.
I can tell you this. I made probably 150 videos on Brittany Griner being incarcerated in Russia over on Black and White Sports, the big channel. We covered that whole thing. I covered in great, in-depth greatness. I mean, wow, what an ordeal that was to cover. But nonetheless, she made it back. I don't remember one video where Colin Cowherd talked about her being locked up.
Reports emerged of spectators leaving at halftime due to lackluster competition and effort levels, suggesting that marketing alone cannot sustain interest without corresponding improvements in gameplay presentation. The incident has generated discussion across multiple media platforms, with many commentators questioning the wisdom of alienating the league's primary attraction during a crucial growth period. Sports analysts have noted that successful leagues typically protect and promote their biggest stars rather than creating internal divisions. The situation also highlights the challenge facing established WNBA players who preceded Clark's arrival. Years of limited recognition and modest compensation may have created resentment toward the attention and opportunities Clark has received immediately upon entering the league. However, critics argue that this perspective overlooks the broader benefits Clark's popularity brings to all league participants.
Cowherd talked about her being locked up. But he has come out and he has talked about the fact that Caitlin Clark is the one that's moving the needle. Caitlin Clark has made him reevaluate the way he takes vacation during the off football year. Because he's like, Caitlin Clark's a real story. And there's real clicks and there's real views around that and real listens for the radio show and his podcast. This is the biggest one in the country, folks. Cowherd.
Increased television contracts, higher attendance figures, and greater sponsor interest ultimately benefit every player, coach, and staff member throughout the organization. The debate extends to questions about athlete activism and appropriate forums for collective action. While player advocacy for better working conditions enjoys broad support, the specific targeting of individual teammates raises concerns about team unity and league solidarity. Moving forward, the WNBA faces the challenge of managing internal relationships while capitalizing on unprecedented growth opportunities. The league's response to this controversy may influence both immediate commercial prospects and long-term organizational culture. Sports business experts suggest that successful leagues typically develop systems to manage star power while maintaining competitive balance and team cohesion.
He's the man. And he's talking about this, and he scorches these WNBA women after this Kelsey Plum thing.
That wins in negotiations or is sold is wildly profitable. But the projection for the WNBA going forward and the current momentum are really, really good. So the T-shirts don't bother me. But why do you take a shot at the Golden Goose, Caitlin Clark?
The WNBA's handling of the Clark situation may serve as a template for addressing similar challenges in emerging professional sports organizations. The broader implications extend beyond basketball to questions about how developing leagues should approach player empowerment, media relations, and fan engagement during periods of rapid growth and transformation. Everyone has become an instant financial expert regarding this topic. This situation presents an unusual discussion point because the phrase "pay what's deserved" contains questionable terminology. Since fundamentally, nobody truly deserves anything automatically, the relationship functions as mutual cooperation. Professional sports operate most effectively through balanced partnerships. Without ownership and NBA funding, the organization wouldn't currently exist. Simultaneously, without athletes, the organization wouldn't be positioned for significant expansion in upcoming seasons. The current collective bargaining agreement arrives at an unfortunate moment. This negotiation period comes during unfortunate timing when athletes observe increasing valuations and witness continuous upward trends while management and ownership express concerns. We're approaching profitability for this organization. We're finally reaching profit margins after operating at financial losses for approximately 25 to 30 years, and suddenly with these new agreements, we won't achieve profitability if we meet player compensation requests. Neither party appears willing to compromise, and valid points exist throughout. Athletes naturally desire increased compensation. The attendance figures for Indiana Fever games demonstrate that after accounting for operational costs including staff, security, and venue rental, a single game's revenue could potentially cover the entire team's annual salaries. Certain franchises generate substantial profits. However, leagues face inherent challenges where star performers never receive compensation matching their actual worth. Elite players consistently remain underpaid relative to their value. Top performers like Caitlin Clark generate approximately $10 million in actual worth. If contracts reflected true market value, that figure represents her genuine compensation level. Angel Reese's authentic contract value exceeds $1 million. Other standout players like Stewart command well over $1 million. Ja Wilson deserves approximately $500,000 to $600,000 minimum based on franchise value contribution. Some ownership groups willingly accept financial losses to acquire talent. The challenge stems from salary cap restrictions, requiring all teams to match the lowest spending franchise. Major global companies operate without turning profits. Tesla transformed Elon Musk from billionaire status to the world's wealthiest individual without generating consistent profits, at least historically. Numerous corporations function as loss leaders. YouTube likely doesn't generate profits for Google. Platform creators earn substantial incomes despite this. Twitch definitely operates at losses while executives earn seven-figure salaries. Kathy Engelbert's compensation illustrates this point. Individual coaches like Nate Tibbetts earn more than entire Phoenix Mercury rosters. The issue isn't money availability generally. American sports league structures create these problems. Connecticut Sun ownership maintains frugal approaches, avoiding losses and unable to afford proper player compensation. Teams like Mercury, Liberty, Fever, and Storm possess financial capability but must maintain low salaries because ownership groups negotiate collectively, even when individual owners prefer different approaches. Consider the Liberty situation where ownership provided private jet transportation for back-to-back games using personal funds and aircraft, ensuring players avoided same-day travel. The result was a $500,000 fine and near-forced team sale for prioritizing player welfare over league regulations. American sports team operations explain why athletes face disadvantages during negotiations. Players should fight for their perceived worth regardless. However, one critical element players must demand involves quick opt-out clauses, perhaps within 2 years. Without owner flexibility, players need escape options because league dissolution would devastate player careers completely. If ownership refuses concessions, their logic suggests unsustainable growth projections. With current expansion sustainability, owners would accommodate player demands entirely.